Hey now, it's Sharon, and I'm back to share another idea on how we can better policing here in the U.S. If you're new to the channel, I'm a retired detective. I worked for 20 years for a southeastern city in the U.S., and I was also in the military. I'm sharing my ideas, thoughts, opinions, experiences, and in hopes of helping others see a different perspective and maybe possibly taking it back with them to work, wherever that is, especially in policing, though. And so last week I mentioned two different things: volunteering before you become a police officer, and the mindset that you come with. Because I discovered while I was being ostracized and retaliated against for basically telling the truth, I discovered some things about myself, my identity, where I come from, and how I had been always practicing the African philosophy and Ubuntu in my family away from the job. And I took that to the job with me. And so I figured volunteering is is something that's needed in policing before you get there. And I wrote down some things that I thought about and found. Okay, volunteering. It fosters civic responsibility and it encourages active participation in improving society. So an officer comes with that mindset for the residents that he or she is policing. I think that would contribute greatly to just the relationship, bridging the gap, if you will. Volunteering, it builds social skills. You meet diverse people, definitely. It helps with communication. And the reason why I bring that up is being in the military, going through basic training, and in policing, I do remember there was always one individual that had never been around black people. And so if you grew up somewhere like that, I would say volunteer before you get into policing in that area. There's always PAL, there's always Habitat for Humanity, things like that in the area, I'm sure. Or you can look up other things to volunteer for to get to know the residents. Because building communication, I think that's bridging the gap, understanding um, just not just not the surface things that you see in the community. You might see dilapidated buildings, but you don't know the history. You don't know why it became that way. Um, but volunteering in that community will help you get to know some of the folks. And once they get to know you and see that you are human behind this shield and gun and this uniform, the residents will definitely more than likely help you and look out for you because I've experienced that. Some more things with volunteering. Oh, nurture new and existing relationships. It increases social interaction, and you're serving your community. Um, Ubuntu, the African philosophy, is I am because we are. That's a community. My success belongs to the community. But a lot of times when we come to policing or into the army, we're looking out for each other. You know, the brotherhood, sisterhood. You got my back, I got your back. Yes, that's needed. But at the same time, we come from them. I did a video on that. We come from those communities. So the 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 perspective needs to be tweaked, if you will, because a lot of people separate themselves from the community that they police. I'm not a part of that, or especially if it's poor, and most likely a lot of times that's brown and black folks, and there's white communities that are poor too. But if we come in having already invested time in the community, we're more likely to hear them out and listen. Um, we have discretion as police officers. And a lot of times when I was policing, a lot of people didn't go to jail for, smoking weed or whatever. I just stomp it out, pour some water on it, and you know better. I would say something like that because I knew some of them. I knew some of their parents. I got to know them. Um, and I think that would help greatly in retooling and restructuring policing. Come with some volunteering in the area, in the neighborhood, and I think that would be a great help to policing. I guess I'll leave it at that for now, and I'll come back next week with another idea. Um, like, subscribe, comment, share if you think that's a good idea, or some of your volunteering experiences that really might have changed your life or helped you see through a different lens. I'd like to hear that because, again, you learn from different perspectives, right? And that's it. Oh, my book. I'm always going to promote this book. Here we go. My Middle Eastern Conflict, Looking Back at My Future. It's on lulu.com, lulu.com. It's in the spirituality and religion tab. It's $15, and it talks about me as a police officer. The second time I actually had to make statements, truthful statements on what happened, what I saw officers doing, and the retaliation that I faced, and that made me question who I was and my identity. So I went in search of that. I found out who I was spiritually and physically, and I share it in there. Lots of revelation. And if you're a Christian, read part 3 first, and then go back and start the book. And that's it. Until next week, as is our tradition, you don't necessarily have to go through a thing to learn from it. Talk to you later. Bye.